Being single can be hard, especially when it feels like everybody is dating except for you. Maybe you've never been in a relationship before, or maybe you've recently dated. Let's talk about 5 things you can do to enjoy your season of singleness. These 5 tips will help you not only grow closer to God, but also understand your purpose and find joy while you are single. So for those of you who have never dated before, you're probably feeling lonely, you're feeling confused, you're wondering, God, are you punishing me? What is going on? Why does it seem like everyone gets to date except for me? Now, I used to think the same thing, or I was in a lot of what I like to say situationships where nothing really worked out, and it felt like more work than anything. And until God changed my heart to understand the blessing of singleness, and this is encouragement for you. This is not me telling you that being single and walking through this journey is easy, because it's not. I've been there and I know how hard it is, and I know those confusing feelings and everything like that. So this is encouragement for you. This is 5 tips to help you really enjoy your singleness and know that there's so much more to life, your story, and what God's calling you to than dating someone. Something I liked to ask myself when I was single is why do you want to be dating right now? Why do you feel like you need a relationship right now? And usually my answers were things like, well, everyone else is doing it. It looks really nice. I feel like I'm getting left out. I'm 20 years old by now. It was all of these answers that were just coming from a place of hurt and emptiness versus just kind of feeling full and excited for your life apart from that other person. So number 1, ask yourself, why do you want to be single right now? List it out, write it out in your journal, and then surrender that to God, because I'm sure there's a lot of things that you're going to write down on that list that are things that only God can fix before he ever brings the person into your life, if that's part of his plan. The other challenge of being single and walking through your singleness is being surrounded by friends who are all in relationships, and that can feel super overwhelming, and that can make you feel even worse. So there's things you can do. There's, first of all, how can you support these couples that you're around? How can you lift them up? How can you continue to lead them closer to Jesus and be that good friend? And then number 2, make sure you are vocalizing to them. How can they best support you? When you're dating and when you're single, there's kind of different needs there. And just because they're in a relationship doesn't mean that they can't walk with you in this season. They can't support you in this season, praying for you in this season. So if you haven't talked to your friends about that, and if you haven't talked about how you feel yet, that can really, really help to vocalize that, and then they know how to best support you. And let me tell you, I know sometimes being single is embarrassing, okay? And it might be a little embarrassing to tell your friends exactly how you're feeling if they're all in these relationships, but you're going to feel better having those feelings off your chest and telling them about that. And this leads into tip number 3, find a community of other people who are walking for the Lord but are also single. Specifically, if you're a girl, finding single girl friends, or if you're a guy, finding that guy group. Maybe you guys are all single and you're all walking with the Lord. That way, when you vocalize hey, I'm feeling left out, I don't know, I'm feeling lonely, kind of mad at God, confused, I don't know why I'm still single, it's been 20 years. Having those people who are also walking in that same exact journey will help you, and they can help you in different ways than your friends who are in relationships can. What I found super helpful when I was walking through this season is finding a healthy balance between time with those friends, time by yourself, and time with God. I found that God really healed me through my season of singleness and really showed me some incredible things when I leaned into him, and he really, really visualized and solidified my dreams and talents. While I was single, before I met Wyatt, was when I kind of really understood my purpose on social media, with ministry, with YouTube and things like that. And I don't think I would have really poured into that if I would have dated sooner or met Wyatt sooner. So it's really, really special and incredible what God can reveal to you, in your alone time with him, what he can reveal to you in that time before you have responsibilities of dating. When you're dating, you you're not married yet, but you have still a responsibility to that person to kind of nourish that relationship and things like that. And when you're single, you can be selfish. You can work on yourself. You can lean into your relationship with God. You can do all of that without worrying that you're neglecting quality time with the person you're dating. Number 4 is I really just had to have a moment of realization with God where you learn that life is not about marriage entirely, and it's not your sole purpose to be married, and it's not written in all of our plans that God has created for us to be married. But what I will say, first of all, I don't want to freak you out, because I believe if you have a genuine just desire and just excitement to one day be married and have kids and all of that, I don't believe that God places that on your heart to make you suffer or punish you so that you never get married. I feel like if you have that deep-rooted desire, then odds are that is possibly written in God's plan for you. I believe that God helps you and leads you towards that contentment of not having the desire of marriage if that's not written in your plan, So I don't want to freak you out, but I'm just saying it is not promised to us. And I had to start to realize that my life is so much more than dating and finding someone to marry, which is hard because when you're growing up, obviously, when you're in high school, college, all these things, you're watching all these rom-coms, there's all these TV shows, like the world tells you if you're not dating, if you've been single for 22 years, you're probably a weirdo. Like, what in the world is happening to you? Or you're going to be, single for life. And that is just the lies that the enemy uses, that the world feeds into us. And it's just important to know that God has incredible, incredible purpose on your life. And He has some amazing things He is calling you to do, and I think lean into that and get super excited for that. And the way I always like to describe it, and I've heard other people describe it this way, is like you're running towards God, towards this purpose, towards this plan. You're answering His calls. You're doing all these things. And if you're meant and called for marriage, that person is going to be running right alongside you, doing the same thing, running for the Lord, pursuing His purpose, and you guys are going to meet. It's not going to be something to where you have to stop everything you're doing, put God to the side, and look over and be like, oh, hey guy. That's just not how it's gonna go. And I think that will help you and know that you don't have to put your whole life on pause before you have a relationship. You don't have to put your whole life on pause just to find this person. There is so much living for you to do right now. So number 5, action steps. What can you do moving forward? Spend more time with God. In the moments when you don't want to, when you're feeling confused, lonely, mad, frustrated, all the things, those are the exact times when you need to be spending it with God. Ask Him and invite Him into the areas where you feel empty. Say, God, heal my heart. I'm confused. Make me whole. Help me through this season. Help me find purpose and joy in this season of singleness. You can pray to God to settle your heart. Tell Him your desires of marriage if you have them. Tell Him what you're feeling and then surrender that to Him. Let Him have it. Because if you're worrying about it every day, if you're carrying it every day, it is going to drive you nuts and make you so, so miserable. Ask God for the community. Ask God for the people who are going through the exact same thing, who are focused on you, who are single, who are in the same life path as you, who are in the same seasons and, that same journey. That is going to help you, because then you won't feel alone and you'll have that community of people praying for you. I hope these 5 tips helped you to feel encouraged and excited that you can find joy and purpose in your season of singleness. You are not broken. God is not punishing you. You have an incredible, beautiful life ahead of you, and your life does not need to be put on pause to find that person, and God will bring them to you if it's in His plan at the perfect timing. And I'm going to pray us out. Dear Jesus, thank you so much for whoever's watching this video. I know that you are going to place this video in front of anyone who needs it. I pray for those who are struggling with singleness. I pray that they know how loved and valuable they are, that the world, people they've dated before, people that they haven't dated, no one can define their worth. No one can define their value. You have created them beautifully and wonderfully for a purpose, and their purpose is right now. It's happening today. There's things that they can do today, and you have incredible calling on their life. They're making impact, and I just pray that you'd bring so much healing to their heart, that they can just walk in freedom and courage, knowing that they are so valued and loved. And we surrender this to you in Jesus' name, amen. And I will see you guys very soon. Love you, Pay Fam.